Thank you for joining me on another episode of Cooking with the Blind Guy. My name's David. I'm 100% blind 100% of the time. Today we're going to be making an easy salsa recipe. So here's what you're going to need. You're definitely going to need a blender. Now the one I have is a Magic Bullet blender that I got from the Lighthouse Vision Loss Center in Sarasota, Florida. And it works great. It's got low setting, high setting, and then the pulse setting. So just one little turn knob, which makes it easy for blind people to utilize it. Now for the actual recipe, you're gonna need a half of a white onion diced. You're gonna need a 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes, a 10-ounce can of Rotel with green chilies, a small can of diced jalapenos. You're gonna need a half a cup of diced cilantro. You're gonna need 1 tablespoon minced garlic, 2 tablespoons, of lime juice, and then you're gonna need a half a teaspoon of ground cumin, and then you're gonna need some salt, okay? First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna dice up our onion, all right? So let's go ahead and get that diced up. Again, I always like to plug that I do like using regular metal knives, but you can get nylon knives that will cut your food and dice what you need to dice, but will not cut your skin, which when you're blind, some people prefer taking that out of the equation because nobody wants to cut their finger off while they're making salsa. All right, so there's quarter of it. Let's go ahead and get that. Put that in your blender. All right. Let's dice up the other quarter. Here we go, almost done. Just make sure it's finely chopped. And of course, it'll get a little more chopped when you turn on the blender once we got all our ingredients in there. All right. And that is good enough. Now remember, when using real knives, when you set them down on the counter, make sure your blade is at the top facing away from your cutting board. That way, just in case you sit there and are trying to find it, there's no chance of you accidentally cutting yourself trying to find it. All right, so that's our onions. All right, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna open your can of diced tomatoes. You're gonna drain the liquid, and then you're gonna add that to your blender. All right. Next, you're gonna take your Rotel with chilies, pop it open a little, drain the juice out of it, and then add that to your blender as well. All right. Now, I like my salsa spicy, so when it comes to the can of diced jalapenos, I do not drain the juice. I leave that in there just to give it more spice. All right. Then you're gonna add your half a cup of diced cilantro. Then your 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Make sure I get all that in there. All right, then your lime juice. Your half a teaspoon of ground cumin. And then just for starters, I like to give a couple of shakes of salt. Now, after it's all mixed up and it's been refrigerated, you can add more salt to your specific taste. All right, now you're gonna wanna make sure the lid of your blender is on there nice and tight, and you're gonna use the pulse setting, and you're gonna pulse about 10 to 15 times, because you don't wanna puree it into just liquid. You still want it a little chunky. So here we go. 1, 2, to go ahead and do 15 just to be, you know, difficult. Alright. And there you go. That's a real easy salsa recipe. Now, once you've gotten it to the consistency you want, go ahead and pour it out of your blender into a Tupperware or safe serve bowl and put it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes to let it chill before serving. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.